We're here at Oyun Botanical Garden with the great Queen Yen, better known as Yenenga, celebrating and reading from Ankh El Adam's new release, OUR Daily Ankh, a divine daily devotional.
Forgive me, you don't have to call me Yenenga, you can call me Crystal. She said, no, I'm going to call you your name, Yenenga. Before then, she would not call me. She refused. Yeah, it's a whole story to it. It was all that happened during my heart chakra work.
So that was very apropos.
So when she told me, we cried and my father was crying. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Visit her here in East Point for life coaching and all amazing things, gemstones, meditation, everything. So let's jump right in.
March 12th in Pisces, 13th moon, south. Defending your honor and defending your ego are two very different things. That's real. A bulletproof vest can stop speeding gunshot projectiles, but it can't stop a knife being pressed through it. A 50,000-ton cargo ship will float across the ocean, but a 1-pound rock will sink to the bottom. A $65 million Gulfstream private jet is able to soar through the sky with ease and grace for 20 hours, but 1 cent tossed into the wind from the observation deck up on the Empire State Building could literally kill someone below in 20 seconds. The only way to make sense of these anomalous contradictions is to reckon with the underlying truth of a thing's design, its function, and its intention, or its propounded, suggested enemy. The same is true for making the distinction between the traits of honor and ego. When you need to check yourself to see which one you're coming from in a heated situation, just consider the quality, performance, and purpose of each trait, and which attributes you're most closely representing or aspire to represent in the exhibition of your defense. In simpler words, what are you getting all worked up for? What are you so adamant about protecting? Is it your selfish, selfful, domineering, insatiable ego personality psyche, which organizes thoughts rationally and governs actions with affectation as it identifies with the temporary body-temple perspective? Or is it your credible, integral, distinct yet lucid, glorious honor principle source, which confers respect, a good reputation, high rank, and chastity with impunity as it identifies with the eternal soul perspective? Or maybe that wasn't in simpler words. Listen, you learn who you are from who you are not. So the next time you get into it with someone, ask yourself, what is it I can learn from this person about me? Period. Nice. Wonderful reflection. Our Daily Ankh. Divine Daily Devotional.
We'll now move into an interview with Tassili Maat.
And I agree with both of you all about people breaking away from relying on the clock as we know it, and then other people adhering to the clock because there is a universal clock. Okay, so the ones that I call the children of Aquarius rising, who are here to create the fifth dimensional consciousness, we are absolutely positively tuning into nature and the seasons and cycles, not only of our personal lives, but of everything around us. Everything has a season. Things are created and things die or transform, however you want to call it. And we have to have both because the sun exists. What are we going to do? So we only going to focus on the lunar calendar.
Right.
Our ancestors didn't do that.
Right.
They focused on everything.
So what
Oh.
Because the sun it exists whether we see it or not. And if it chose to do something different, I
thought it was ant. I'm like, ooh.
I know, right? If
You
it
see the
chose,
cover of the book.
if it chose to do something different, our life on this planet would be over, or at least transformed from what we know it to be. Period. Okay? And the moon is here to help to regulate the seasons and cycles, the ebb and the flow, which is a rhythm, which is timing. And so, in fact, we live in a multiplicitous or, what do I want to say, polyrhythmic universe. Okay? And we can choose most of the time which rhythm we want to dance to or move to, right? Because I had to ask myself, well, most of the time I'm flowing. And when I was in Jamaica, I lost track of time. I was in a state of timeless awareness.
Yes.
Okay? But I tell you what, I was ready when it was time to catch my plane.
It was time.
When it was time to catch my plane, I was on that time. Right?
Yes.
So, it just depends on where we are and what we're doing. The whole comment we made about Trump. Yeah, he is a trumpeter. He's trumped up. He is the Trump. You know, him coming in, acting like he's the dictator. Well, okay. He is. For those that put him in office, let's look at American consciousness. The average, I won't even say white American, because there's a whole lot of black people and
American
and Hispanic and Asian people that voted for that man, who are sorry now, but that's your karma. and the vibe is one where they're programmed. They watch a lot of violent shows, a lot of dictatorial shows, a lot of shows where the bad guy is winning. He is winning. So consequently, we want to just acknowledge that everybody knows Trump is the bad guy. So they say, well, let's let him win. Let's let him win. And because everything has its place, you know, he's coming to undo. He's coming to burn down Babylon.
That's it.
He's coming to burn down Babylon.
It's all in order. It's in order.
It's true. And so then, like, Uncle Adam, my king, I'm so proud to say, as my divine masculine reflection, you know, channeled this book to help people to navigate these times. You know, because it's a lot of what appears to be chaotic energy, but it's not. If you can see beyond sight, hear beyond sound, feel beyond touch, what'd you just say? It's doing what it's supposed to do. You know, so with that in mind, we are right where we're supposed to be, because we chose.
Yes. I say the silver lining is that people are being pushed. If you don't go into independence, you're going to be sorry, you know. And not just independence, like individuality independence, but independence, depending on that which
inner
is within.
voice.
Yes. That's
right.
what is pushing you, because hopefully you don't get caught up on what's going on outside of you. Mad. I mean, it's literally chaos and madness.
Even that word, so I love that you are dealing with word, sound, power, right? Because we know rap brought us to remembrance of word, sound, power. So we take that word, and even though for most people it makes them feel like, they can just be however and not care. No, absolutely. You have to go within and be dependent on your inner self, which lets you know that you are absolutely codependent.
Yeah, connected to it all.
Connected to
Once you go in,
everything.
it's going to show you that you're connected to it all. That's what it
Absolutely.
is.
That's it.
And that inner voice is connected to the one mind and the one voice. And so it's essential for you to go within, because you're not going to hear that one mind outside the self.
Right.
You hear reflections of it, like from people, other individuals. But
I'm glad you said that. That's in reading the book, the anecdotes, the meditations, the things that he's given really help people to validate a lot of what they're already living.
yes,
But they're afraid to mention it to somebody. They're afraid to acknowledge themselves in it because they don't trust themselves.
Yes.
Like you said, the inner dependence.
yes, interdependence. And you don't depend on something you don't trust.
That's right.
So now you got to figure out, okay. I remember I dealt with trust one year. Like, I figured I was in initiation of trust. And I asked myself, okay, who can I say I trust? Let me start there. Like, okay, this thing trust. And I started going through my head. And I thought of my son, because I remember when I felt the vibration of trust with him. I had sent him into a grocery store. He was like 10, like 9 or 10. And I had been inspired by one of his teachers, a Senegalese woman, who would send her 4 or 5-year-old when she would go home to the store by himself. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that here. But then I said, well, I'm going to try it. Because he would always say, Mama, I can do it. Mama, I can do it. So I sat in the car, gave him my card. I sent him with a list. I said, go in there and get it and come back. And so I sat, I'm nervous. I'm like, should I go in? It took a little time, probably wasn't time. And then he came out with a big cheesy smile, and this lady came out with him, so I still got a little nervous, like, uh-oh, what happened? And she came out, she said, I just want to let you know that he did so great, and he just knew how to do this and that. And I just laughed, and he just looked at me with this beaming smile. So that was one part of trust. I trusted that he can be independent and do different things. Then when he got older, as a teenager, as a photographer, he would always ask me, Mom, can I go with my friends to do these concerts and different things? And he's usually doing recaps of like the underground hip hop concerts and stuff. So I'm nervous. I'm like, he's young. I don't really want him in these. But he was a working photographer, and he really wanted to do these things. So I said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance to go. You have a curfew. This is what you do. This, that. And I let him do it like 2 or 3 times. And I never had an issue. So that was another level of trust. So I sat and thought about it. I said, okay, so what did this trust that I felt like trust? It was a feeling that I felt of relief, of surrender, this trust. What did it come with? It came with me having to allow, first of all, allow him to do it. I had to give it room. Like I had to let it go, surrender. Then I had to contain myself and my ego. I had to govern it and the process, and then acknowledge it once it happened. And so then I thought about that with spirit. I have to allow spirit to speak to me, and I have to contain the ego when the ego wants to come in and go, well, I want that back and forth. I wonder if that's no. It's spirit spoke, let it be. And then I have to acknowledge it once I see that it moved through. That was my initiation and trust with the inner guide, because at the time I didn't trust it. I love to sit at people's feet, and those things are good, but I felt like I had to read a book, had to sit at someone's feet, had to ask for it, had to do those things. And that year, it was like Spirit was like, no, those things are good. They're there for you, but there's an inner guide within you, and you have to learn how to listen to them and trust them.
I had a similar experience. I'm really glad you put it that way, because I had major trust issues after I had found that my company had been embezzled by my upper level management, people that I had trusted with my life and the lives of the people working there.